Howdy! We are Group 8 and we are excited today to be discussing our strategic analysis and recommendations for Ronin Farm and Restaurant. Alright, now before we dive into the analysis, we wanted to include a little bit of background on Ronin and their story. Ronin was started by Brian and Amanda Light as a catering company and event venue after they took over a farm property in Bryan, Texas. In 2015, they expanded into the restaurant business with a restaurant in downtown Bryan that prides itself on being a true farm-to-table experience. During our analysis of Ronin Farm and Restaurant, we identified three major opportunities for improvement in Ronin's current management strategy. Those opportunities being identifying and addressing competitors, partnering with farm to table to maintain a more consistent supply chain, and implementing growth strategies to ensure long-term success. Our presentation will be focused on these three recommendations as well as the analysis and research that led us to these conclusions. Ronin's mission statement is, "The ultimate goal of farming is not the growing of crops, but the cultivation and perfection of human beings." Their vision is to preserve the gastronomic and cultural traditions of Texas by sharing sustainable foods and genuine experiences with our community. Being local to College Station and Texas A&M, tradition runs deep. They feel that it is their honored duty and privilege to carry the role as stewards of this history. Restaurants in the area are aware of the competition Ronin brings in the industry. Ronin has vertical integration, which gives them a competitive advantage. That is a unique feature that no one else is doing in the area. The food and restaurant industry is motivated by the food dollar. Everyone has different choices. Ronin differentiates themselves by offering the unique farm-to-table aspect to their customers to set them apart. Other restaurants in the area don't have full capability to compete, considering the locations and resources available. Ronin is local to downtown, offers fresh farm produce, local hospitality with high-quality food, and aesthetically pleasing atmosphere to enhance the ultimate experience. Now I will pass it over to Corinne to talk about how Ronin is a first mover.
Thanks, Macy. Looking specifically at first and second mover strategy, we would categorize Ronin as a first mover within the Bryan College Station area because they are not afraid to take risks by being innovative, by utilizing a unique offering, being their restaurant and their farm together. They put a lot of emphasis in R&D in that they are constantly figuring out ways to grow different produce at their farms and bring in the highest quality food from local suppliers, which allows them to be flexible and experimental with their menu. They also advertise aggressively through all of their unique events they put on both at their restaurant and their farm, building customer loyalty by creating really unique experiences. Although being a first mover is often a risky strategy, it can be an incredibly effective method to remain competitive against rivals because it enables them to capture the first 50% of adopters. Ronin markets to innovators and early adopters by advertising unique experiences like their full moon dinner, paint parties, and farm day feasts. Innovators and early adopters that participate in these experiences generally promote the event on their social media, which then encourages the early and late majority to visit the restaurant. Ronin offers a range of unique experiences to classical traditional dinner, so they accommodate every type of consumer. Now to focus on market speed. Ronin has a fast market speed because of its ability to sell products quickly at a relatively low cost. Since Brian and Amanda Light are the sole owners, they have full control over adding and removing items from their menu, thus opening the door for their competitors to respond frequently to their innovations and new offerings. This also enables Ronin to respond quickly to consumers' preferences as they evolve as well. This sets them apart from competitors like the Republic and Porter's Steakhouse. Finally, looking at diversification in comparison to their competitors, Ronin has a few product and service lines that complement their main business operation of being a restaurant. They offer subscription boxes of seasonal produce from Ronin Farm. Ronin Restaurant also provides catering services, while Ronin Farm serves as an event venue. These different service lines complement each other and lie within Ronin's ultimate vision and mission. This sets Ronin apart from its competitors because they are more visible to potential customers. In conclusion, as demonstrated in regards to their competitive strategy, Ronin has a lot of characteristics that set it apart from its competitors, like their commitment to farm fresh ingredients that come from their farm and the different events they use to bring customers and create community amongst them. And these strategies serve them well. However, these strategies are currently being utilized in an indirect fashion due to the fact that Ronin does not currently consider any other restaurants in the area to be direct competitors. But in order for any business to be successful, they must acknowledge and be able to respond to their competitors. Therefore, our recommendation that Ronin put more emphasis on identifying their direct and indirect competitors, because they don't currently believe they have direct competitors, will only serve to better position themselves for long-term success. Now I'm going to pass it off to Caroline to discuss our second recommendation and analysis.
Thanks, Corinne. Our second recommendation is to have a more consistent supply chain by partnering with suppliers to maintain a more consistent menu. When looking at the five forces for the restaurant industry, we found buying power suppliers and buyers and threat of substitution to be some of the most significant challenges facing those entering the restaurant industry and those that are already in it. Buying power of buyers is especially significant within a local context because individual buyers are much more likely to share their opinion through word of mouth and apps like Yelp and Facebook. Buying power of suppliers is significant for Ronin and other restaurants that have farm to table offerings because this means physical location may greatly influence the options they have for suppliers. Finally, the threat of substitution is significant because it is very high for the restaurant industry in general. There are little to no switching costs for restaurant goers, and customers can just get up and leave. Therefore, it'd be incredibly beneficial for Ronin to make efforts to bring more consistency to their supply chain because it would enable them to combat these limitations and be more consistent in addressing buyers' needs and making them less likely to switch or spread negative word of mouth. Moving into the resources that Ronin has, they have a farm, forested dining area, barn clots with dance floors, a full service commercial kitchen, and a flexible management team. Their competencies would include having a head chef that is knowledgeable and can adjust the menu items accordingly. The forested dining area, the dance floors, and flexible management team enables a company to undertake opportunities most restaurants don't have, such as upscale events and weddings. Anyone with financial resources is likely to acquire the resources Ronin has, which make them not rare. Also, the restaurant industry is very inevitable and has great competition, and the organization does take advantage of the aesthetic venue, but needs to better exploit the consistency in their supply chain. Strengths of Ronin include their high quality food, sustainable business practices, their comforting atmosphere, and multiple revenue streams. Their weaknesses are that the prices that they charge on their food alienates a large portion of the college student demographic where they are located. Ronin is also very limited with what they have to offer on their menu due to the dependency on the farming. Ronin's atmosphere is very unique, and it would be difficult to try to replicate it and expand to more restaurants. Instead, Ronin should expand their business as a venue for social gatherings. They can also expand their farm and leverage their brand name to sell produce that is not being used by the restaurant. Additionally, Ronin could expand their products into their own beer line, creating a new line of alcoholic beverages that would be easy since they can grow the required crops on the farm as well. From a political standpoint, Ronin has a lot to think about. For starters, the FDA is very strict when it comes to restaurants, and since Ronin is farm to table, the FDA laws are much stricter. One thing that is good for Ronin is that farming is a very subsidized industry, and the federal government is likely to help out with their farm if needed. Economically, Ronin can take advantage of the farm and use it as a way to stay independent from meat and vegetable prices. However, their food is very high end, and their main customers have large amounts of disposable income, so they are vulnerable to economic downturns. Socially, Ronin can take advantage of their customers' newfound concern for sustainability, and they are now likely to care much more about the ethical and environmental impacts that their food has on the target environment. From a technology standpoint, new farming practices have made running a small farm much more efficient, and food storage industry has improved with better and smarter refrigeration every year. Now, Ronan will conclude this recommendation.
Thanks, Caroline. Nolan here. I'm going to talk about the 5 Ps from Ronin. So, first P, plan. Ronin has built its business model around being able to farm their own products. They have everything from chickens to gardens and rely on what they produce in that week to serve to customers in the restaurant. They have to have a game plan for freezes like in February. So they have a farm in Austin that they also use as well. Ploy. The biggest advantage that they have over their competitors is that they have a fresh ingredients compared to fast food chains. And finally, pattern. Ronin's actions are not consistent with supply chain perspective. Their farm varies in what it produces, and the weather can impact crops. Ronin is adaptable when it comes to their own menu, but customers don't see any kind of consistency. From a management perspective, the management team wears many different hats based on what is necessary in the moment. They have meetings on Wednesdays to regroup and discuss what needs to be done with the restaurant. So, position. Ronin is currently positioned in the high-end market in BCS. Their meals are much more expensive than other restaurants. This makes their competition steakhouses, and other type of farm-to-table restaurants. Perspective. Ronin executives don't believe that they have any direct competitors. This is a mistake, and that they could be giving away parts of their business if they aren't aware of what their competitors are doing. So, customer needs. On Ronin meets customer needs by providing menus with fresh and locally grown ingredients. On the Maslow hierarchy of needs, they reach the first level, which is food. Along with the restaurant, Ronin also has private events, weddings, and subscription boxes for produce and wine. This helps them meet the various needs of their clients. So their corporate level strategy. Currently, Ronin implements a growth strategy that focuses on vertical integration by bringing almost all the production and agricultural needs in-house. To even further their position within a growth strategy, we recommend that Ronin utilize concentration and diversification methods as well. A recommendation of creating events at the restaurant level that are more budget friendly for customers would allow their current offerings to further penetrate a new market that could include college students because we are often on that budget. Additionally, partnering with local brewery or meadery would help Ronin diversify in a way that's more related to their core business. Business level strategy. Ronin provides business using a product differentiation business level approach. They provide a unique experience of farm to table. Their food is very high quality and made completely fresh. The higher standard they hold themselves to differentiates them from other competitors. They also offer wine subscriptions to those that are interested. Currently, Ronin has centralized leadership structure with Brian and Amanda Light serving as the owners and main decision makers. Because of this, the Lights have the capacity to be involved in all aspects of operations and to try new directions quickly. And now some components of agency at play. Ronin serves as an agent for customers who come into their restaurant. By expanding their product and service line, Ronin will be able to take more responsibility as an agent. Ronin Farm serves as an agent for Ronin Restaurant, which is the main principal.
Thank you, Nolan. And so now we'll move on into the Kano modeling section of our analysis. Some of the basic features that Ronin has is that they have clean facilities and a nice staff. Additionally, they need to have a safe and reasonable priced food to accommodate all customer types. The performance features, having great tasting food and a nice home style atmosphere is something that will keep most customers coming back. Ronin has a great location with nice decorating. But lastly, a performance feature that Ronin has is that they have a good selection of alcoholic beverages and desserts. It's these types of specialties that really keep new customers and old customers satisfied. Ronin could start their own line of food products that they could sell to their customers. The events that Ronin hosts is another example of an excitement feature. The Moon Festival, the Trivia Night, the Happy Hours are ways to bring in new customers to experience something special. And lastly, Ronin's ability to use food that was grown on their farm gives their product a novelty factor. People might want to just try the product to see what eating farm to table really looks like. Now, Ronin does not have an international strategy, nor do they really need one. But if they were to go international, we would suggest a transnational strategy, creating recipes for the culture of the local market and using locally grown produce is the main reason for this. Now, to conclude our presentation, we'll just go over the basic facts of valuable. Is Ronin valuable? Yes, the food taste is a lot higher quality than most other nice restaurants. It is attractive to consumers that are concerned about sustainability. Is it rare? Kind of. Many restaurants source locally grown food for the restaurants, but none in College Station. Is it non-substitutable? No. While having the farm is unique, customers are unlikely to care where their sustainable food comes from as long as it is grown locally. Customers can easily substitute their Ronin farm-grown food with another locally grown farm-to-table restaurant. Now, the biggest hurdle that a company would face is if they were to copy the business model would be learning how to farm efficiently. It would be difficult in the beginning, but not impossible to learn. In summary, this competitive resource is not sustainable. While it does help the company have a competitive advantage, their product can be easily substituted by other locally sourced alternatives. The company is rare because other competitors in the area source locally and do not have their own farms. But at the end of the day, customers who are concerned about locally grown produce do not care if the restaurant also owns the farm where it is grown. Thank you so much for listening to our analysis of the Ronin Restaurant and Farm. We thank you for your time.